in true beat reporter fashion, true beat writer fashion, John Machota is pulling a Clarence Hill and looking down when the show starts, checking out his phone. What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Trust the Tape. Bryan brought us out today, so I texted John Machota, and he shockingly said, sure, I'll do your stupid little show on your stupid little personal YouTube channel. And you can see that he's getting hydrated. So welcome in, everybody. It's time for Trust the Tape. And today's will mostly be about free agency and the guys they've added and the guys that they're going to add because, by God, we're in the middle of it right now. So hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
And I don't have a drop for John Machota. I don't have a Johnny Matches.
Those are good.
The Athletic. He's incredible. Follow him on Twitter. Read his stuff on The Athletic. And what's up, Johnny?
What's up, Jeffrey? I thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. So the only thing I have planned today is to talk about what they've already done and to preview what's coming up. And I don't know if we get around to what it could mean for the Cowboys going draft. And I think it's probably too early for all that. But I watched Rashan Gary and Jalen Thompson last night / this morning to get a feel for how I feel about the signings because I can react in real time. But I'm a loser. I like to go watch them. And then tell people what I've seen. And I'll say this: adding Rashan Gary helps the Cowboys, but I don't think you've necessarily addressed your pass rush unless you think that Quinnen Williams is going to be your best pass rusher and Osa is going to be a good pass rusher. And then the guys who are going to be playing outside are complements. I like Rashan Gary. I think he's a good player. I think he's strong, plays hard as hell, makes effort plays. He can get to the quarterback a little bit, but not like the way you picture it. It's not look, he just smoked that offensive tackle again. It's more, this play dragged on. The quarterback tried to escape forward and he retraced it and he got home, or they stunned it and they blew an assignment. Like, he's not going to fix your pass rush, but he's a good player. And then Jalen Thompson, I think, is what DBs are turning into. It used to be you wanted Ed Reed back here and I'll give a non-Hall of Famer, and Donovan Wilson down here. We want to hit down here and we want to play free safety back here. And Jalen Thompson's today's DB. Today's DB is 5'10" to 6 foot, 6'1". He's 185 to 200 pounds, and he can cover and he can tackle and he's willing to be physical. And and Jalen Thompson, where does he play for the Cowboys? Probably all of it. And it depends who else they add. He was kind of the free safety in Arizona, except when they decided he was the rover or when they decided he was the nickel and they'd play two other deep safeties. They would play 3 or 4 safeties at a time. And so I think he's a modern DB that's sort of a chess piece, and he helps this team. I don't think you brought in an impact guy, but I think you brought in 2 guys that help your team and help you draft cleaner at their given positions. But what do you make of what and Sam Williams is back, which to me is, it's worth saying Sam Williams is back, and then we're done, honestly. Sure, he can play some snaps if you need him to, and he'll get you some penalties. So Sam Williams is back. So what do you make of what they've done on day one?
Yeah, you did a great job summing that up, especially for the new players. That I think Rashan Gary is someone that Cowboys fans probably know a little bit about, just because of all the times that, the Packers have played the Cowboys. Obviously, the Micah Parsons trade to Green Bay. You've probably seen him play next to Kenny Clark, things like that. But the Thompson one is interesting to me because I'll admit I haven't watched him play a ton, but I knew that Christian Parker was looking for somebody, more versatile guys, like you said, in the backfield. And so I went to Pro Football Focus to see what his breakdown was on his snaps. And I'm thinking that, and this was probably foolish of me to think this, because just to be honest with you, Jeff, this isn't just the last 5 years. Most of my time covering the Cowboys, they have not put a huge investment at safety. So I'm not usually looking at how the safety breakdown is. It's a lot of hey, these guys are solid, we'll go through with them. But anyway, when I saw that he played 389 snaps last year at free safety, and then 320 at slot corner, 320 in the box, and then 249 at slot, I was like, oh, well, this is clearly what Christian Parker wanted. They're looking for, and it's just not them, it's just where the NFL is going, is they're looking for these guys that can play nickel, that can cover corners, but you also got to be physical enough in the run game. You got to be able to blitz a little bit. They want these Swiss Army knife kind of guys like that more so now than ever because, everybody always says nickel is now base. So I thought that part was interesting. And then obviously the connection with Ryan Smith, who was the corner coach in Arizona. Now he's the secondary coach for the Cowboys. I bring that up because I'm telling you, I feel very strongly these first 2 picks in the draft, and maybe the entire draft, are going to be spent on defense, and they're going to lean on this young coaching staff because they know these guys. They probably recruited a lot of these guys. They might have coached some of these guys or coached against them in college and things like that. And so I felt like this was a pick of like, this is what this defensive staff really wants. And that's interesting to me because this defense is changing more so than it has in the previous years when you go from, the Eberflus, Mike Zimmer for a year, Dan Quinn even before that. Like, there's a lot more of, I'm not 100% certain. We've talked to Christian Parker a little bit, but we don't know 100%. And these moves show you more of what they're trying to do. But on the Gary front, when you bring him up, I don't think he's going to be some great pass rusher, but I think he improves them in certain ways from where they were last year, which was in the basement. And so I don't look at Rashan Gary and go, oh, they're good at edge rusher. Like, I still expect one of those top 2 picks, 12 and 20, or if they move back a little bit, to be spent on an edge rusher. They need more help there. But the Sam Williams thing I thought was funny because as the season was winding down and, people would ask me about like who I think could be back, I would always mention Sam and people would be like, he's not gonna be back. I'm like, well, no, for the right price, he will be back.
Yeah.
A few $1 million. So, I'm not gonna sit here and act like that Cowboys, whatever, bust the budget, but they did make some interesting moves the first day of legal tampering period.
It's like, if you're familiar with how the Cowboys work, if there is a guy that is not going to have a market, he'll probably be back, especially at this point in an offseason where you need bodies, and they need bodies. And to the Jalen Thompson point, like, I don't think you even have to say, because we were kind of wondering yesterday on the show, is that a guy who's taken Reddy Stewart's job? Is that the safety who's playing next to Malik Hooker? And to me, the answer is, yeah. And yeah, like that's nowadays what you want is guys that teams go from, like I was watching the Cardinals play, I believe Seattle. And when they would go, let me not screw up his alignment. When they would kind of tighten it up, even if it was 3 wide receivers, but they would kind of tighten it up. Well, Jalen Thompson would back up and he'd kind of be the deep safety. When they'd spread it out, he would step down and he would do something different and stand over one of the slot guys. And then he would mostly be in zone coverage. And so I think it just depends on the roster makeup, and they don't know what they're going to have yet. If Caleb Downs is at number 12, congratulations. You've got 2 different guys that can do that same thing. And now defenses, you can bring in a second tight end. I don't change anything. You could bring in a 3rd tight end. I might change something now, but I might not. And I think that's the goal now, is to be able to dictate to an offense. Like, you can run on a second tight end. It doesn't mean I'm bringing a big guy on the field. We're going to be able to defend you how we want. You're not going to know what we're doing, because obviously offense does dictate to the defense in some ways, but we are further along than ever with the defense wanting to be like, it's not about being in my spot to get my job done. It's about you not knowing where my spot is and what I'm going to do in coverage. And so they got one piece that helps them with that. And Rashan Gary may be the same thing. My first question when they signed him, I was like, where do they view him? Because I don't think he is, like, if you go back to his combine, his measurables would say, boy, that is a twitched up athlete. But when you watch him play, like, that don't look like Von Miller out there. He's not just whipping around the corner and smoking offensive tackles, and the change of direction isn't, oh my God. So, like,
well, let me ask you this real quick.
Perfect. What's that?
Well, let me ask you this real quick. I am so used to 4-3 bases from covering the Cowboys that, like, when I first got on the beat, they were still at the tail end of that 3-4. Like, Rob Ryan was calling the defense. But, like, do you think he can play some defensive end in a 3-4, or do you think he's strictly a stand-up outside linebacker?
No, and that's what I was wondering before going to watch him, because, like, I have a picture of Rashan Gary in my head, and I've seen him play, and then watching him play, like in Green Bay, he's a hand up, hand down. He does both, but mostly a 4-3 end. But I think he's probably 280 pounds. Like, he got the sand in the pants. If you want him to put the hand down, I think he can do that. And I think a lot of times, like, we can say 3-4, or we can say they're going to run a 5-man line, but that's not always true either. I think there'll be plenty of times where he'll be a 4-3 edge. He'll be a 4-2 nickel, and he'll be the 4th guy out there. But yeah, I think after watching him, I think like Jalen Thompson, I think he's both. I think there'll be times where if you've got 3 bigs and he's one of your stand-up guys outside, well, he'll be excellent as a run guy in that spot. I don't think he'll be an excellent pass rusher from that spot. And then if you've got snaps where you want to put his hand down, because you can say it's going to be Quinnen, Kenny Clark, and Osa, right? You can say it's going to be them. How many snaps do bigs play per game? The guys who play the most, 60%?
Yeah.
70? There's a lot of snaps. And I think Rashan Gary, just like Jalen Thompson, I think the answer is, yeah, Jalen Thompson's your free safety. And yeah, he's your nickel. And Rashan Gary's a stand-up rusher. Yeah, and he's a D lineman. I think the answer is that they are both. And that's fine. But I still need a pass rusher. Like, I don't want Quinnen Williams to carry my pass rush. And I hate, this is 2 years in a row where I feel like one of the worst possible things has happened for the Cowboys. And you could probably remind me on exactly when it happened with Guyton. It might have been in camp. But Guyton getting hurt last year as a guy that desperately needed every single moment to develop and get ready for his second year as an NFL player, didn't get it. And now Donovan Ezeraku, who's being asked to carry a lot of load as the best pass rusher on the Cowboys and probably underwhelmed in that way last year. Boy, he needed an off season and he doesn't get one. And it's just like, that is, to me, that's the worst luck you could have had. I guess I could pick guys who are even more prominent, but those are just so important moments for guys who you're expecting a lot from that didn't get it. And that sucks.
Yeah. And the Guyton thing too, to your point, it also went the year before during his rookie season on not being out there enough during practice, like during the week. I know that was a big thing with the coaching staff. It's like, you got this young dude, you're working him at left tackle after you just got done playing right. Like, to your point, he needs as many snaps. And then, so he wasn't even getting as many as he needed during the week. So I know that was a point of frustration with him too. But you're right with Ezeraku. Now he's got the hip thing, probably won't be back until training camp. And so you hate that because that is your most upside for the future guy. And now all of a sudden, what's he going to look like early in camp? And so maybe that upside of the future guy is who you use at 12 or 20. So there is that. But I just want to go back to like when they went and got Quinnen Williams, I'm not saying that he isn't a great player, that they wouldn't have been like, hey, let's try and get this guy. The Jets I still believe that the Jets parting with Sauce Gardner opened the door that day to being like, all right, well, let's listen to what people want for Quinnen Williams. Let's see what we can get there. But having an assistant coach like Aaron Whitecotton, who was already working with him in the building, I think that helps a lot. And with both these players, with Rashan Gary, Christian Parker was a defensive quality control coach of them, like knowing how these guys are behind the scene, I think that's so important. And the reason why I say that is because when you're talking about how you just were about being versatile and changing up things from play to play and the scheme stuff like that, it is difficult for me to wrap my mind around even going to that level when how confused the defense looked just on basic stuff last year. So it's like, if you tell me that you have, because that was always the thing for me that I always heard people say during the prime years of Bill Belichick, it was like, man, defensively, he gets dudes that's like, 1 week they're playing this way, and the next week they're completely throwing you a curveball, and you're just like, man, he's got guys that can actually do that from week to week. That's crazy. Like, I don't know how you watched the Cowboys last year and think that their defense, even there was too much like right before the snap, guys looking at each other like, are you going to come down here? No. All right. Well, I guess I'm doing this right now. There are plays on the back end that when you're watching that game and you're sitting there and you're like, man, Malik Hooker just getting destroyed again, like on a deep ball. No, you're saying that because he's the last guy in the shot. But then you're talking to the coaches off the record. And they're like, yeah, man, I feel terrible for him because that's not even his assignment. He just had to do that because he's the only guy near that. There was too much of that. So I'm hoping that the teaching side of this coaching staff gets through what you said, because it does seem like they're putting together these pieces that they can from week to week do a variety of different things. And I thought there were times where they did that under Dan Quinn when that was clearly the best defense they had over the last probably 10 years. So that's the goal, but I also want to see the teaching hit home as well.
Well, and I mean, hell, Belichick would have a guy playing receiver 1 week and corner the next. That dude was a psycho. I want to do some Christian Parker stuff, but also we're on YouTube, so super chats have to take priority. Nathan, Neal, or Nathaniel spelled interestingly. Trade 12 and 20 to Kansas City for 9, 29, and 109. Trade value is super fair. It guarantees you one of the top defensive players. Who says no? Kansas City might say no. Let's see. They signed their running back, so they're not going to go Jeremiah Love.
They brought back the tight end for another year. No, I'm sorry. Go on.
They did bring back the tight end for another year, who I believe Ian Rappaport on Twitter said who's still playing at the same level, Travis Kelce.
All right. I did see that. It's funny that you brought. Okay, yep, yeah.
I might do that trade because I do think the difference at 9, and we don't know this. Teams can screw this up. I think Jeremiah Love is now poised to go 4, 5, or 7, and if that is 4 or if that is 5 or 7, those could be Sonny Styles landmines. What if I get him all the way to 12? What if I get Caleb Downs all the way to 12? What if Ruben Bain's short arms get him to 12? Those are all the 3 things I'm cheering for. And if I get to 9, I bet I can have one of those 3. And I would probably do that because my difference at 20, if you're talking about, depending on which guy makes it, if you're talking about the pass rusher, which we both think they want a pass rusher, yes, 1 or 2 might go between 20 and 29, but boy, they're hard to stack. Like, this team might rather have Cassius Howell with his even tinier arms because they may just want the twitched up rusher more than they want Akeem Messidor, who's more of a balanced player. They may want our Mason Thomas more than, like, it's just so many dudes that are going to be in that range from the teens to the 40s that I don't know what order you're going to have them in. And maybe if the guy you get, if you have 9, if the guy you want is a corner, 20 to 29 might screw you. It depends how many of them you like. But I think there's probably 6 corners in this draft that I'm happy with at 20. And can I get one of them at 29? And so I think that's an interesting trade proposal. I might be in. If that gives me a better shot at Downs, Styles, Bain, I'm probably about that. What if David Bailey isn't a top 8 pick? That would be fun. You want twitched up and full size? There's your guy.
You're right, though, about every time I look at those mock drafts or when I've done the ones with The Athletic where we'll have everyone drafts for the team that they cover. It takes probably about 5 or 6 hours to get everybody to get through all their picks and that, but it gives you a better feel of how things can potentially go. At 12, it just puts you right on that cusp of being wiped out to where you're just like, I hope Mansour Delane is here or somebody like that. Whereas like you get to 9, it gets more interesting. And then the other thing I was going to say is that your point about those edge rushers, you go, I don't remember how you said it, but how they might have them. I don't know how all teams are going to have them. So I think somewhere between 12 and 20, you're going to see one of those guys you just named go to a team and people are going to be like, whoa, I thought that was supposed to be like a late first, early second guy, but no, that team likes him more. Maybe it is Messidor just because of the age or something, but really don't know. Whereas 9, I would feel very comfortable you're getting one of those defensive guys that you really, really want.
No, I agree. Ike says, is Gary as good or better than a rookie Bain? That's a good question.
That is a really good question.
Who would I bet on as a rookie? Rashan Gary and his, God, what is he on, year 7?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Or Ruben Bain as a rookie. I might take Bain. Maybe. I'm betting so hard on such a giant outlier with Ruben Bain, and somebody's going to, and they should, because that's just how good he is at football. I guess Bain, but I don't feel incredible about which one I'm picking. Roman Wolf Gaming, Jeff, do a mock draft and draft Dylan Thieneman. I'm not doing a mock draft, not right now. Just make sure you're subscribed to my little tiny YouTube channel. There will be plenty of mock drafts before we get to the draft. And I did do one where John, I have an alter ego, and his name is Captain Trade Down.
Okay.
And in this draft, I want more picks too, because I think the second and third round is really good, and I think the top 10, top 12 is really wanting. So I want more picks. So I did it, and it sucked. I traded down from 12, and I had Mansour Delane was my last man standing at 12, so I knew better. And then he was gone, and I was at like 15, and I hated everything. So we have to be careful. Trade down might be let me give you 20.
let me give you a scenario that I ran into that I think could be realistic. Just because they've done deals with the Steelers before. I think the Steelers at 21. Steelers have a lot of picks, and I ended up fielding calls when I went on the clock of them wanting 12. And so you could get back. They have like 2/3, or you get their second. Are you cool with getting 20? Then now you have 21 and 20. Now you have a second, or you might have 2/3 on top of it. So you have you're adding multiple top 100 picks. Would you do that? And then you have 20 and 21 back to back.
Can I wait until I'm on the clock to make that decision?
Yeah. The reason that the Steelers would want to come up in this scenario was for wide receiver, because there is a chance that at 12, that could be a hot spot for wide receiver. And I would think the Cowboys wouldn't have interest at wide receiver. So they would be like, yeah, okay. You want to come get Cardinal Tate or somebody like that? Then you do that. And then now you're back at 20 and 21.
Yeah, I'd probably be in on that, because I think I would love it if I could add a 2. If I can add a 3, that might be okay. But if I could add 2, that's great, because I think the hot spot for this draft is if you want a corner, a safety, a linebacker, maybe a pass rusher, like all of those things. Because to go back to it, I gave you some pass rusher names, right? Here's my order of the pass rushers: Bain, Bailey, Messidor, Falk, Howell, R. Mason Thomas, TJ Parker, Zion Young, Derek Moore, Gabe Yakis, the Penn State dude, Dennis Sutton, Romello Height. Like, if you told me that my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th pass rusher was the 4th or 5th one taken, I wouldn't be shocked. I think it's hard to put them in order and how many go how fast. And then at safety, I think there might be 8 rookie safety starters in this draft. I think corner is super deep. So if you want to continue what they've done in free agency so far, which is we are not changing the world on our defense with either of the guys we brought in. But what we would like to do is slightly upgrade 5 things and then bet on our coaching. Yeah, give me another pick. Because the difference at 12, if the guys that I want don't make it to 21, it always depends how it falls. But if I just lost Mansour Delane, but I can take Colton Hood at 20 or Chris Johnson at 21, or I guess if you get to 20 or 21 and Jermod McCoy runs me a 40 at his pro day, I'm in on that. Of course, if he runs a 40 at his pro day, he might go top 10 because I need him to exercise. If you can't exercise 16 months after an ACL, somebody else going to have to be that hero. Like, I'm not that guy. Can't be. Just can't do it. Foots to King is in the chat, and I love Foots.
There you go.
Don't want to get wiped, then you're cooked. Yeah, I can't get wiped at 20 because at 20, at least in my brain, it opens me to so many more names. At 12, I feel like there's a chance I'll be picking the same guy I want at 20. Like, for instance, a guy I really want at 20 is Avion Terrell, Clemson corner. Want him at 20. If I lose the guys I really want at 12, I'll take him at 12. Do I have to do that? I don't know. Do I want to do that? Not necessarily. I want somebody that I feel great about there, but I'll do that, and I'll add another, even better, Jalen Thompson to my football team, and we'll make it work.
I mean, they really wanted one of those corners in the Micah draft, and then even Micah is sitting right there for you, and they still traded back a couple spots. So in your scenario right there, let's say they like Avion Terrell, I still think they would find some partner. You won't get the value that might match up on your online trade chart, but I think they'll find enough where they're like, we're adding another top 100 pick. Let's move back 2 or 3 spots. We'll still get him, but now we add another top 100 pick.
As long as your front office, like the Micah trade was actually, I don't praise this front office all that often. That was great. They knew exactly who they wanted, and they knew exactly who the other teams were going to pick when they moved back 2 spots. So they knew they were still going to get their guy, but you got to know you're still going to get your guy. Anything on a trade for Jordan Brooks? This could be a quick transition, John. Preview today for the Cowboys, because I think the biggest thing is they tried on Nakobe Dean. They didn't seem interested on Devin Lloyd. Right now, I guess Shamar James is starting next to DeMarvion Overshown, and that will not be the case, I don't think, when the season starts.
Yeah.
So what are we looking to have happen today?
I think there's been a lot of smoke behind the whole Patrick Queen possibility with the Steelers, trading with the Steelers.
I'll go watch this tape, but my understanding from people who have watched him play is that you're about to redo Kenneth Murray with that one.
I've heard as well. The thing that was told to me is he was at his best when he had another good inside linebacker next to him, and he didn't really have that in Pittsburgh. So he's a guy that you probably need someone else to be the more of a run stopper, solid guy, and allow him to roam free a little bit more. So, I would think that you wouldn't have to give up much for him. And I also don't think that adding him would completely erase you still needing to add an inside linebacker in the draft. So that's just the name that's been thrown out there because let's be honest, all the other names are gone. The free agent ones have all been picked up by other teams. The notable ones, like you mentioned, I did not think both Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean would go to the Raiders, but here we are. So
dogs, Georgia dogs said, let's go get our money and be friends.
I mean, hey, maybe you still get that CJ Allen or something at 20 or so. I don't know, but I don't think that they would be done at inside linebacker, but he's just the one name that it seems like there's a lot of smoke behind there. And then I also think that if it's not today, in the coming days, I still think they add you said that would be their Kenneth Murray of last year. I still think that their Kyer Elam of this year is still got to be added. It won't be a big time corner, and it might come like Aline did through the draft. I mean, through a trade, but I still think that they're going to add another veteran type corner so that they can go into the draft, not having to take a corner early, even though they probably want to. And then one other thing I was going to mention to you about the Rashan Gary thing. I think that also at 28 years old, I think you should have a little bit of that hope of, hey, did Seattle really think that they were going to get to the Marcus Lawrence at 33 that they got, and then you put him next to some other good players, obviously the scheme, but most importantly, he stayed healthy. So I'm not saying that you can't get the production out of Gary, that he ends up having like a bounce back year playing next to Quinnen Williams, playing next to Kenny Clark, but I just still think you just need to do more at edge rusher.
Roman Wolf Gaming said, if KC takes Pickens, who will your first 4 picks be? Am I blanking on a draft pick guy named Pickens, or are they talking about trading George? If we traded George Pickens, I mean, if you traded George Pickens, it would definitely open you up to picking a wide receiver, which they are absolutely not going to do right now because you're good at receiver.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
George Pickens, or you could have gotten Tat McMillan.
Ooh. I think if you took me back to that time, I might have gone Tet McMillan. I liked George Pickens, the prospect, more than I liked Tet McMillan, the prospect. But I also had the wariness of, like, in college, he had the exact same things coming from everywhere that he had while in Pittsburgh. I was like, yeah, kind of a crazy person though. And you're like, oh, but the talent, my God. Maybe does the rookie contract sway me? The rookie contract might sway me.
Yeah, the only thing is that you probably aren't getting, then you don't get Tyler Booker. Are they really trading for a guard, after the draft, like they traded for George? How are they addressing guard where now it looks like they have a strength in the middle? But I don't know. I've asked this to other people.
That's hard because
you're getting the rookie contract.
Yeah, part of me says that you can find a guard. There's positions in football that are hard to find.
Yeah.
And then there's ones that are easier. You can find a guard, but I'm really happy to have Tyler Booker. And I think that was kind of the design of the pick there is, yes, we could find a guy, but with this guy, we're not going to miss and we're going to be good. And by God, we've been missing lately. That's a good question. Jeremy's in the super chat. Do you think players don't want to come here? Because how hard is it is to get paid from Jerry? It's not hard for most guys. Like if unless you're the best of the best, those are the guys that they really struggle to get done. And every time that it's happening, they go grab their middle of the road guys that a lot of teams would move on from, and they reward them handsomely. So Dallas ain't a hard place to get paid. It's just a hard place to get paid if you're one of the best guys. Hey, I've missed 2 calls from the surgery center, and they're chopping off my leg tomorrow. So I probably need to end this and call them back. Full knee replacement coming tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, my.
Send me your T's and P's. Johnny, thank you. John Machota, The Athletic. Follow him on social media. Make sure that you read his stuff on The Athletic too, or else, which is not a threat. Thanks, buddy.
Anytime, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, everybody. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. Be cool to everybody. Pray for my knee. I love you.